Guys, y'all gotta see this. I just caught the tail end of it, but as you can see, Sissy just started screaming with her very unique scream. And as soon as she did, all the other goats started running over here to come towards her. I don't know why. There's not a goat that's stuck. There's no emergency that's happening or anything, but it was the coolest thing. I was just relaxing right here editing a video. I caught the last little glimpse of it on camera. She was screaming, I kid you not. I caught one of her bands. She has a very hers is very distinctive compared to the other goats, so I knew it was her. But as soon as she did, she called for them maybe 3 or 4 times, and then all the other goats that were way over there by the berm, the hill thingy, for those of y'all who don't know, they were all the way over there. They just came running. They came running towards her. And she's like the boy who cried wolf. I guess the girl who cried wolf. You know, that might be kind of a fitting story to tell right now, as a matter of fact. The boy who cried wolf. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this story, but it's one that I love because it has a very powerful message. Let me go ahead and just give a brief summary of what it is, in case some of you don't know. A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. No, I'm kidding. This was probably in like Germany or Asia or something, but it was a long time ago, several hundred years ago, back when society was more rural and they had flocks of sheep that they had to use as their source of food. Anyways, around this time, there was a young shepherd boy. He was in charge of a very important flock of sheep. He was to take the sheep to the top of the hill every single day and let them graze, eat food, play, do things animals do, and then when the sun set, take them back home, put them in their pasture so they could be sheltered from any predators, from the weather, and anything else that might be dangerous to them. He was basically their bodyguard. That's why Jesus refers to himself as the Good Shepherd, because we are to be his sheep. We're to follow his every step and obey his every word, and he will keep us safe. Anyways, one day this boy took his sheep to the top of the hill, and they were grazing and just eating, and he got bored and was like, you know what? I'm gonna cry out for help. I want to pull a prank on the old men of this town, on the townsmen rather. I'm gonna cry out that there's a wolf, and I'm gonna see if they come. He'd always been instructed that if there was ever danger to cry for help, and they would abandon whatever they were doing and come help him. So he did that. He pulled a false alarm, and he yelled, "Wolf! Wolf! Help! There's a wolf!" And the townsmen were like, "Oh no, we better go help." So they grabbed their pitchforks and just abandoned whatever they were doing and came to help. But when they arrived, they saw nothing. They saw the sheep just eating regularly, and the boy going, "Bah! Gotcha! I can't believe y'all fell for that." And they were like, "Hey, that's not cool. Don't do that again. What if there really was a predator? You need to only do that when it's serious." And he was like, "Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I won't do it again." So they went back to what they were doing, and that was that. The next day, though, the boy was bored again just watching the sheep eat, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to do it again. I want to see if they'll fall for it a second time. So he cries out, "Wolf! Wolf! There's a wolf! I'm serious this time. Help! Please help!" And so, again, the townsmen just abandoned whatever chores they were doing and ran up the hill to help the little boy, and his sheep escaped from danger. But when they got up there, just like the day before, there was nothing. And once again, the shepherd going, "How many times will y'all fall for that, you goofballs?" And they were like, "All right, you know what? That's it. This is unacceptable. Someday there will be a wolf, and you really will need help, but no one's going to take you seriously because all you've done is just play around with us and just not take anything seriously." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever. I've been a shepherd for 9 years. I ain't seen one wolf like that'll ever happen." And so the townsmen just left him be. There was nothing they could do. He was just with his heart in mind. The next day, however, the shepherd had his worst nightmare come true. He took his sheep to the top of the hill as he had done for so many years, but lo and behold, he saw the most intimidating black canine creature he'd ever seen in his entire life. It was indeed a big bad wolf, charging right for him and his flock. So of course, as he was taught, he yelled, "Wolf! Wolf! There's a wolf! I'm serious this time, I promise! I'm begging you, please help, please!" Pleading with all of his might, but to no avail. The townsmen heard him, and they just went back to what they were doing. They totally disregarded him because, like, of course, you would expect, he had just tricked them and goofed around with them so many times that when he finally was in need, nobody took him seriously. And so he lost the entire flock of sheep, and that was that. All right, guys, sorry if the ending was a little bit morbid. I usually like to have happy endings with my stories, but you know, that story is a very popular folk tale. It's fictional, of course, but I think it's popular for good reason. It has a very powerful message to it. And I guess the best real life example I can think of is, y'all know that I'm 21. I've had many cousins and siblings that I've played with over the course of my life. Starting with, I suppose, Jake and Dustin, who were a few years older than me. I was like 8 or 9. They were probably 14 to 16-ish. And then as I got older, kind of Bennett, Elijah, Brienne, different things like that. Cousins at my mom's house occasionally. And now that I'm an adult, technically, I kind of am the older one. You have Lex, Connor, a few of the younger ones that I'm older than. So I guess it kind of goes like that. But I say all that to say that in the time that I've played with so many family members over the course of my life, there are some that are kind of more dramatic than others. I'm not going to say any names, but there are some that when they don't get what they want, they tend to throw a fit or they cry. And I always think of the Boy Who Cried Wolf story whenever they have one of those little episodes. Some of them are just kind of known to me as the fake criers, because like they won't get something they want, then they'll complain, and then someone else will cave in and be like, oh fine, here you go, and then they're like, yay, and then like instantly they're not crying anymore. I've fallen victim to that before. Someone tricked me with that, and I felt so fooled when I saw them crying, and then I caved in and they were like, oh, thank you, and then they walked off. I was like I have no room to talk though, because when I was younger I wasn't a fake crier when I was younger, but I was as fragile as a Michelangelo painting. I was fragile as a feather, I guess you could say. I don't know the best analogy, but it didn't take much to hurt me. I wasn't dramatic or exaggerating, but it just took a little tiny touch for me to be in pain when I was younger. My cousins Jake and Des can vouch for that, when we played football and I cried every single day that we played. So I have no room to talk, basically. But I'm kind of going off the rails, so I need to stop myself here. But long story short, guys, let's not be the boy or the girl who cried wolf. Let's treat things that are minor as things that are minor, and let's treat the things that are major as things that are major. That way people around us will always take us at face value. They'll take us seriously, and we can be like an open book. We are what we say we are. We're genuine, if that makes sense. And so I don't know, guys, the flash from my phone's kind of shining in my eyes, so I don't want to look into it anymore. But with that said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Be sure to let me know in the comments what kind of stuff you want to see. Hope you have a great day, and as I always say, your boy Ellie out.